This is Homeschool 101, a collaboration between ABS Television and the Ministry of Education. Stay attentive and attempt all activities. And now, today's lesson.
A very warm and pleasant morning to all, our listening and viewing audience, specifically our students. Welcome to another episode of the ABS Homeschool 101. My name is Miss Walker from the St. Noble Richards Academy, and before we commence on our revision on family, it would be remiss of me not to encourage you to continue practicing the social distancing rules and the sanitary guidelines while you're at home getting prepared for your CSEC exams. Today's objectives for today's lesson on family, we'll be defining family, we'll be looking at the family structure, we'll also be looking at the functions of the family, unions, changing roles and responsibilities, results of these changing roles, and also we're going to be practicing some multiple choice questions. And I want you to pay specific attention to our video that will be viewed, and after the video we'll be asking some questions. So once again, I am happy to be here with you revising your topic on family. So on our screen today, of course, we'll be looking at some of the multiple choice questions coming from the paper 1 and the paper 3, although you will know that your entire exam will be consist of just multiple choice. Okay, so let us begin. Okay, of course, this is a picture of family. And as I said earlier, the definition that we'll use today is the family is a group of persons united by ties of marriage, blood, or adoption, constituting a single household. But these persons are interacting, they're also communicating with each other in their respective social roles of husband and wife, mother and father, son and daughter, brother and sister, and creating and maintaining a common culture. Okay. So students, that is the definition that we'll be using, and I know most of you will have something similar because, as I said, this is just a revision, so most of you already have the definition, even from your primary levels. All of us should know what is a family and what a family consists of. Okay, a family is also classified as a social group. Now, in this social group, to be classified as a social group, it provides a set of norms. And of course, you know, norms is something that we do accustomed to do in specific family settings. So for instance, in your family, you know what your family is accustomed to do. Okay? The values and the roles. Of course, all families are governed by rules and regulations. They also govern by values. What is good for one family might not be good for another, but you value it because it's something that defines your family. Okay, it also has members with specific roles. Of course, you know and be accustomed to this because you, within your own family settings, you have roles, you have chores, you have things that you do to add to the well-being of your family. Okay, so it is known as a social group. A family is also known as a social system. This is a wider definition because in each family setting, a family plays a part in our society, and it consists of various interrelated parts that perform particular roles. It also is a part of a larger system in the society, namely community. Okay? The third one is a family is also known as an institution. Okay, socialized individual to be productive members of society. Now for this part, at home, our home is the first environment that we basically know, apart from you being taken from the hospital and so forth. Our home is the first environment that we are accustomed to. And in this family, the family is responsible, the adults in the family are responsible to socialize the children. Okay, in terms of where do we go to church, where do we go to school, who do we interact with in our communities and so forth. Okay, so the family has that responsibility to groom you in order to go out in society. It also provides guidelines and supports and a sense of belonging. Okay, so if of course, in your own family setting, you know that you you will feel a sense of belonging in the sense where you are supported by your mother, you're supported by your father, you're supported by your siblings. Okay, and they also provide guidance, good guidance that should be in order for you to know how to behave, how to react to certain things, when and what not to do. Okay, so again, a family is also a social group, it is also a social system, and it's also a social institution. Okay, this part is where we're going to be playing the video. Remember I said earlier that you'll have to watch a video and it's expected for you to list at least 5 things, 5 functions of a family. When we're finished watching the video, I'll ask you to compare your answers to what is on the next slide.
You're watching Homeschool 101.
When talking about family life, one key framework is to consider how families function. What exactly do families do? What should they do? How do families function, and how does that benefit its members? Not only that, but how do families function in a way that benefits society? As we consider family functions, think, how does this function aid the family? How does this function aid society at large? There are 10 functions we want to consider here. First and most obvious is procreation. Some families focus on this function, others find it more challenging or avoid it altogether. As an aid to families, procreation may provide children who can help with financial assistance, who can look after aging parents, or who can provide a legacy for the family's future. To aid society, procreation provides new members with economic and material needs, a new workforce, or even military personnel. Parents oversee the physical growth of their children, focusing on health and safety. Families are responsible for the physical well-being of each other. Have you ever had a parent tell you, be careful when you just start driving? Or did your family focus on nutrition or exercise? If so, they were meeting this function. Cognitive development includes opportunities for the individual to learn, such as an adult receiving a degree, or a child starting school. This in turn enhances the family's knowledge through family interactions. And there's plenty of news today about the importance of an educated workforce and its benefits on society. Families foster psychological development by teaching roles, such as being a brother or a sister, and by providing opportunities for members to develop their own identity. You see here my family wearing Saints gear to show our identity as Saints fans. For some homes, the family is the emotional hub, the place where we see our greatest flux of emotions, both positive and negative. Ideally, the family can be a safe house for sharing and regulating emotions, a place where members feel most secure. On a societal level, can you see any benefit to teaching people how to manage their emotions well? I can. With socialization, the family regulates behavior, providing feedback and teaching what is right and what is wrong, what behaviors are appropriate or inappropriate. Families provide children with opportunities to teach them about character, which could be friendships or participation on a sports team. The family is the first place where new family members learn to relate to others, and as we'll discover, one's family of origin has lifelong influences. Oh yes, a family function is to form sexual attitudes and shape sexual behaviors. So how do parents do this for children? I have no idea. Seriously though, for the married couple, sex is regulated through rules about sex, whether that is when and how sexual activity occurs, or frankly to say that this is a monogamous marriage with no sexual activity with other people. Parents, for better or for worse, have a significant influence over the sexual activity of their children. Perhaps you can think of how the family you grew up in talked about sex. How was it communicated in your family? Sexual attitudes could also mean teaching children about their bodies, appropriate touch, and answering questions as their bodies develop. The family can be a source of recreation and entertainment, and quite often free entertainment in my home. Here we also think about companionship, enjoying one's company, and friendship. Perhaps your family went camping or had special vacations. Perhaps your family had a favorite TV show they watched. Or maybe you had a game night with family and friends quite often. The family provides economic resources and opportunities. This could be the house you live in, the employment by family members, thank you ACU, This could be providing material resources, whether that's clothing or money to go to the movies, or if you've ever gotten a job because of someone that your family knew. That's economic resources as well. Spiritual formation could include beliefs and practices about God or another deity, church attendance, church community, or how to worship. Some of my fondest memories are attending vacation Bible school during the summers. For non-religious families, this function could include the formation of a worldview, a way of seeing the world, or giving purpose and meaning to life. Finally, the family functions to teach life skills. This could range from manual labor, cooking skills, financial or time management, study skills, or the importance of responsibility, to name a few. So as you think about family functions, here's what we want to discuss. Which family functions did your family do well, or not really focus on so much? And as you'll read in the text, does it matter who performs the function? Did it matter in your family? Such as who supplies the main source of income? Who provides the majority of emotional care? Are these male or female specific functions? Complete the discussion prompt below to explore further.
Okay, students, we're back, and I hope you had the opportunity to jot down some notes as to the function from the video of the family. Now let's compare to what the video has told us to what we have here. Okay, so they're saying, we're just going to reiterate what the video has shown us, the function of the family. And each of us would already understand and already develop awareness of what our family values as function and what we do in our individual families as function. Okay, so for biological function, we're saying that reproduction or procreation, satisfying sexual needs. So each family unit is responsible for reproducing or keeping the human resource going. So in other words, you have a nuclear family, and I'm not saying that you should have a lot of children, but if you're coming together, you can at least have 2 children just to be safe, and so that our communities and society will keep growing. Because if we do not continue to have children, what is going to happen to the human race? So it is very important for us to procreate, but do it so wisely. Okay, so the economic, unique financial function, this is another critical function of each family, because this determines what type of lifestyle we can afford and what kind of lifestyle we're able to enjoy. Now, economic meaning the money that is generated from our parents primarily, because they are the adults in the home, and they are expected to ensure that they have a good financial structure in order to run the household properly, in order to satisfy all our basic needs. Okay, so the function, another function of the family is the economic unit, and I'm just assuming that all our families have strong economic units, okay, in order for us, to live, satisfactorily. Now, education, another very, very vital function of each family, because without a proper education in today's society, you know what can happen to some of us, okay? I'm not saying that some of us are going to venture out into other fields, that you don't really have to have a strong academic background, but you still have to have some kind of strong skill background. But let us just focus on the education. Education is important for each family, because that is how society grows. That is how we are able to go and live sustainable lives as adults. And our parents are to encourage us in order for us to stay in school, get a sound education. It is very, very important. And when you look around in society, what do you want to become later on in life? Do you want to become a doctor? Do you want to become a business person, an entrepreneur? What do you want to become? When you think about what you want to become as an adult, then you will understand the very importance of having a sound education. If you want to become a teacher, you need education. It doesn't matter what you want to become in life, but ensure that whilst you're in school, you are focusing to be the maximum potential that you can be as a student. It is very important. Okay. Emotional, psychological security, love, develop, self-esteem. Why this is important? We all have emotional needs. whether we are toddlers, whether we are teenagers, and even us as an adult. But it is very important that we provide emotional needs to our children, because if we don't attend to their needs, it can become something that we don't want. It can become like a burden to the family, because they're going to start developing problems. Once you see, for instance, you have a toddler, and the toddler is probably, you know, maybe sleepy or something at home, and everybody just like, they're busy doing something, mommy cooking, daddy outside doing something in the grass, and the toddler just here like, you know, fussy and stuff like that. The toddler is just seeking somebody, even a sibling can handle this. Somebody just to give them a little comfort to know that you're okay, and give them that sense of security, so that can they probably drop to sleep. Okay? We also need to remind our children at home that they are loved. They are loved, because if you don't show them love at home, they're not going to believe that anybody wants to be around them. They're going to, and a matter of fact, it can become another problem. They can go out in society and seek the love, and that is a problem that we don't want to start at all, because once that problem is started, it's hard to curb that problem. Okay, so it is important for us as family to show our children and give the support of emotional and psychological security, so they can build, in turn, build their self-esteem. Okay, another important factor of the function of the family is cultural transmission. What do we mean by this? Each family have their own culture, a way of doing things. Okay, and I'm of the opinion or the assumption that each family have good cultural structure. Now, we have our grandparents, we have our great aunts, we have, you know, elders in our family and so forth. And for the norm, they usually pass on what they have learned, stories and so forth. So for instance, the way they cook, the way they iron, the way they keep themselves and so forth. And of course, they pass it on to their parents, and in turn, they pass it on to their children and so forth and so forth. Okay? That is a cultural norm, that is a cultural belief of each family, and each family is different. Okay, socialization, all very important factors. Why this is important? Because we are teaching our children how to go out and be productive in society, away from home. How do we do that? We inculcate the values and the beliefs that we know that when they go out there, they can be productive. They can be mindful that, you know, when you go to church, for instance, you don't behave a certain way. You go into church, you conduct yourselves accordingly. You go to school, you conduct yourselves accordingly. Okay? When there is something outside that happens in society, how do you behave? How do you react? How do you respond to these things that are in society? Where does it start from? It starts from home. It is important for us, as young as they are, you start practicing their social graces. When somebody gives you something, you say thank you. Okay, you greet somebody in the morning, you say good morning. You greet them somebody in the afternoon, you say good afternoon. All these things come into play when you're speaking about socialization. What is expected of us as individuals when we leave home and go out into society? Again, these are all functions of our family, and I can imagine all of us at home now viewing this lesson. We can identify with that, because we are of the age now that we have been through all of this, one way or the other.
You're watching Homeschool 101.
Students, as we continue, remember I said earlier we're going to be answering some multiple choice questions. These questions are based on the topic family, and I want to encourage you whilst we are answering multiple choice questions, because your exam is primarily multiple choice, we have to use the process of elimination, the best possible answer to the question or the statements. Okay, so we have the opportunity today to do so with me. I think this is a good idea, so I hope that you're ready. Now, the first question is, or statement, the home, the school, and the community have an effect on the behavior and attitude of children. Okay, which of the following best describes this process? Remember the video we just watched and the different function we went through about the family. You should have your little notes jotted down. This can help you to answer the question and get it correct. Okay, so we have A, transformation, B, association, C, socialization, and D, identification. Now we can go back to your statement. There are key words in the statement that will assist you to answer your question correctly. Now, the key word that you will be looking for is behavior and attitude. Which one of the functions that tells us about how do we behave. If you were listening carefully, you remember that was the last function I emphasized on. So when you think about behavior and attitude of children, where does this start from? What does it entail? Does it entail transformation? Does it entail association, socialization, or identification? Now, if you have transformation, nah, it's not correct. If you have association, that is still not correct. If you have socialization, that is correct. So give yourself a big tick. Socialization, remember the function says that our family is responsible to give us certain values, inculcate certain values in us. How do we behave when we go outside? What is our behavior when we go outside? How do we react to certain things on the outside away from home? Once you see the word behavior and attitude, it's speaking about socialization. So if you have socialization, students, you are correct. Okay? Very well. We're moving on to number 2. All these questions are based on what we just covered. Okay, so you can think about the functions, and as I said, if you have the little notes written down, you'll be able to answer these questions comfortably. John in Form 1Y at Joseph Harris Secondary School. The teacher often told the students, your parents love and care for you deeply. To which function, and we just did that, of the family does the teacher refers? Again, you can look for keywords. What are the keywords in this statement? Of course, you have to go back and say, okay, think about the functions and so forth and so forth. All right, you have examined it already. So the keywords would be love and care. Which function would this tie into? This function will tie into, is it educational? Is it emotional? Socialization, or economic? Of course, you know, economic is relating to finances. So, of course, that cannot be the correct answer. Education. Yes, you're reminding the children that their parents love them, so it's a bit of educating, but it's something that they already know. Socialization, it has nothing to do with their behavior because the teacher is just basically telling them that their parents love and care for them. So, of course, it would have to be emotional. Because love is an emotion, care is an emotion. Okay, so of course the answer will be B, and I know most of you or all of you already have B. So we're doing very well. Let's move on. Okay, students, we continue our lesson and we're looking now at the family tree. Okay, remember, as I said earlier in our objective, there are different parts that we're going to be looking at. And this is just a revision, reinforcement lesson because I already know that most of you would have covered this from first form coming up. Okay? So when we look at the family tree, a family tree is a diagram that shows family members together and how they are related to one another. Okay, and at the top we have William and Catherine. At the bottom, spreading out, we have Sarah and Robert. To the left, to the right, sorry, and to the left we have Alex and Megan. And under Alex and Megan we have two persons, we have Tracy and Andrew. Under Sarah and Robert we have Jeremy and me. Okay, so now under that we have some questions, basic questions that I think is imperative for us to look at, because on the exam you can get something like this. How do you answer this? A question like this. Very easy and simple. All you have to do is ensure that you examine the picture properly, peruse it thoroughly so that you can answer the questions comfortably. Nothing hard at all, but you have to pay keen attention to who is going where and whatever. Okay, so the first question is, how many children does William and Catherine have? Now you go back to the top. There's William and there's Catherine. How many children they have? Now, you see the branch coming down there, and then you see one stem there, and then you see another stem. So you look at the two persons. Who are the two persons that are under the stem of Catherine and William? Yes, you are correct. It is Robert and Alex. So for this question, how many children does William and Catherine have? How many students? Oh yes, two children. So if you have two children, you are correct. And their names are Robert and Alex. All right. please pay attention to the branches. Once you see the stem, you have to pay keen attention to the branch. All right. Now, what is the relationship between Tracy and William? You look for Tracy. This is Tracy. And this is William. Now, Alex is here. Of course, we already established that Alex belongs to William. And Tracy belongs to Alex. So, in your household, okay, so you have your grandfather, then you have your father. Your father's father. So what are you to your father's father? Obviously is your grandfather, right? So Tracy's relationship to William is grandfather. So if you have grandfather students, you are correct. Okay, so how many children does William have and Catherine have? They have 2 children. And the relationship between Tracy and William is grandfather to Tracy. William is a grandfather to Tracy, and Tracy is the granddaughter to William. Another question is, give the names of Jeremy's uncle. Give the name of Jeremy's uncles, sorry. Now you find Jeremy, there's a picture of Jeremy. So there's a picture of Jeremy, and who is Jeremy's uncle? Does Jeremy even have an uncle? Okay, so you go back up, you know, of course, who is this to Jeremy? His father. Who is this to Jeremy, the male there? His uncle, because Robert and Alex are, did I hear brothers? Oh yes, that is correct. Robert and Alex are brothers. So the uncle to Jeremy is Alex. Okay, students? Remember, we're paying attention to the stem so we can get our answers correct. The last and final question on this family tree is, what is the relationship between Catherine and Sarah? Catherine, and here is Sarah. Sarah is married to Robert. Think about your family setting at home. Sarah is married to Robert. So, what is the relationship between Catherine and Sarah? I hear somebody saying something, but they're not speaking up as loud as I would like them to. Oh yes, Sarah is the daughter-in-law of Catherine. See how simple this was? This was a very simple family tree diagram that I think once you examine correctly, once you carefully peruse your diagram, you should be able to answer all the questions comfortably. And students, these are questions that are likely to come on your exam, bearing in mind that your CSEC exam consists primarily of multiple choice questions. So this is a good practice for you today. Okay, students, we're going to be moving on. Okay, again, family structure. We have conjugal. New family started with every marriage, husband, wives, and children. Family continues through several generations, whether it's blood relation, patrilineal, and matrilineal groups. And of course, you know that you didn't exist out of a box. You come from your parents came from other parents, and parents before them, and parents before them. How far back we can't even go. Okay, so this is what we're talking about. Family started from every marriage, and even if you're not married, still, you know, male and female coming together, procreating, and stuff like that. Okay. Still on family structure, students, and of course, I think this is familiar information to you. Types of family, extended. What is an extended family? Of course, you know, extended family consists of our grandparents, our parents, sometimes uncles, cousins, siblings, all living together under the same roof. Some of us are part of extended family. For me, I was part of a nuclear family for quite a while as a child, you know, so I don't have an idea. I know of other persons, you know, friends that were part of extended, but I wasn't that fortunate. Because I think being a part of an extended family is a lot of fun because you can get away with a lot of things, if you know what I mean. Okay, so you have a single parent, whether it's the father alone in the home with a child or children. Same thing, vice versa, like the mother at home with a child or children. One parent living at home with the offspring or offsprings. Sibling household speaks for itself also. You have the sisters and the brothers, or the brothers alone. The eldest one is the one that is basically, more mature, responsible for his younger siblings, younger brothers. Or it could be sisters alone, or it could be a combination of both, male and female sisters and brothers living together, with the oldest one that is in control of the household, taking care of the household. And we do have these things happening. It might not be as prevalent in our society, but it exists elsewhere. Maybe not even too far from home. All right, you have the nuclear family, of course. The both parents living together with their offsprings. It could be one child or more than one living together. You have the blended, also speak for itself, and right now we have a new name, reorganized family, where you have a mother and her children meeting a father and his children. This can be an example of the Brady Bunch. I know you're all a young generation, but I know maybe mother or your older siblings will tell you about the Brady Bunch on TV, the sitcom thing on TV, where the two families coming together, the father with his children, and then you have the mother coming with the children, and they blend together and make up this family and live together. Visiting union speaks for itself again. You have a parent that is visiting the family for whatever situation that they have or whatever arrangement they have. You're probably more likely the mother living with the children. She has children with a man that really don't live there, but he comes and he visits and support his family and stuff like that. But he doesn't really live in the household with his family. So these are different types of family that we're looking at: the extended, single parent, sibling household, nuclear, blended or reorganized family, and visiting family. I hope that you had an opportunity to write down these little notes. I know you know them, but reinforcement is good, and we want to go into that exam coming out successful. Okay, we're going to be moving on. Unions. Visiting relationship, this will speak to the visiting union relationship that we spoke about earlier. Somebody visiting, most likely again the father, for whatever reason. Sometimes it's a situation where, the mother probably lives still at home with her parents, or, so they don't really have a good financial situation set up yet. But they have children, and the father will come and visit. But as I said, they don't live together. The parents don't live together. All right, so hence the reason for the word visiting. Somebody visits and leaves. All right. Consensual or common law, this is quite prevalent in our society, where they have adults living together, man and woman living together. They're not legally married, but they're living long enough to be known as, common law, but they're not legally married to each other. By law, they're not identified as husband and wife, okay? And then, of course, now you have the legal marriage, where they have to go to the courts and, all of that. This is quite prevalent in our society also. Legal marriage and consensual or common law. So these are the different types of union. Students, I hope that you have an opportunity to jot down a little note, so later on you have that to go back to. All right, again, as I said, can't get away from our questions. These are the questions that we're going to be asking just on the information that you gathered from the last 10 minutes. Okay, so the nuclear family is one in which parents and A, you have grandmother live in the same house. B, children live in the same house. C, relatives live in the same house. Or D, children live in separate houses. Nuclear family. What is a nuclear family, students? A nuclear family is when parents, a man and a woman, mother and father living with their offsprings, whether it's one child or more than one child. Okay, so if you know the definition of nuclear family, what is the best or the correct answer? Is it grandmother live in the same house? No, because once you see the word grandmother, it carries you to the extended family. So that clearly is not the answer. Children live in the same house. Yes. The nuclear family is the one in which parents and children live in the same house. If they live in separate houses, they're related, they're known as family, but what we constitute as a family is living together under the same household. So the answer is B. Children live in the same house along with their parents. Very well. Number 2, a family formed through marriage of divorced couples is referred to as A. Marriage of convenience, an arranged marriage, C. A reorganized family, or D. An extended family. Again, you have to go back to your definition. What is a nuclear family? What is a sibling family? What is an extended family? What is a reorganized? What is a blended family? Go back to your definitions. Of course, keywords. So, a family formed through remarriage. So if you're talking about remarriage, these persons are coming together, likely coming together with their offsprings. So now if they're coming together, man and woman coming together with their offspring, what is the best answer for this? Very well, a reorganized family. Why reorganized? Because they are adjusting to each other. They're coming together to know each other, to live together. So they're reorganizing their lives to be together. Okay? It's the same answer it would have been if it had been a blended family. Okay? Same answer. Number 3, all of the following are advantages of an extended family except. Okay, so you look for all the answers that should be correct. When you say except, you look for the answers that are correct, basically to answer the statement. So the one that is not correct, that is the one that you're trying to find. So let's go through the answers. It says all of the following are advantages of the extended family except A. Privacy is compromised. B. Cultural traditions are effectively transmitted. C. Grandparents look after grandchildren. D. Family can share the burden of misfortune. Okay, so let's look at all what can take place in the extended family. Let us start from D. Family can share the burdens of misfortune. I think so, because once you're in an extended family, sometimes your parents are busy, but you have the attention of your grandfather, or you have the attention of your grandmother, or you have the attention of your sibling. Somebody is there to attend to your needs. Whatever burden you might have, somebody can listen to you. Whatever is happening to the household is not you alone have to carry the burden. Everybody's going to weigh in on it, so it wouldn't be so burdensome for one person. Okay? So that is correct. So that cannot be the answer. Then you have grandparents look after grandchildren. In an extended family, this is expected. Okay, you're living in the household, parents are busy, they're working and stuff like that. And of course you have young children, or you have children on a whole. The grandparents are naturally going to take responsibility of their grandchildren because of love for their grandchildren. Okay, and that is just natural. C, cultural traditions are effectively transmitted. By that, it means that whatever culture, whatever values they would have learned, they would pass it on to their children. So that is also another correct answer. So of course, B, C, and D, not correct at all. Okay, so let's look at it. Privacy is compromised. What do you mean by privacy is compromised? If you live in home and you want to probably go in your room and watch television, what are the chances of you being disturbed? It's very, very high, because you have to have your younger sister, your younger brother coming in, saying something, coming in, playing their games, somebody calling you, somebody want this, somebody want it, because the family is so big. You cannot have time for yourself unless probably it's time for you to sleep, because there's always something doing in an extended family. So A is the correct answer. Your privacy will be compromised once you're part of an extended family.
You're watching Homeschool 101.
So let's review some of the family structures in multiple choice question again. I am the man who wears the pants in this house. What I say goes. The authority displayed in this situation can be described as, And I know most of you would already know the different concepts: matriarchal, equilateral, patriarchal, and patrilineal. Okay, so what we're doing now is looking at which one again is the possible answer. Remember, look for key words. Okay, it says, I am the man in the house who wears the pants in the house, right? And whatever he say goes. So is it matriarchal? Of course, we know that relates to the female, okay? The female power or authority, so you know that is not correct. You have the equilateral, where this person basically thinks all that everybody's equal, basically. Then you have the patriarchal, of course, that deals with the male authority. And then you have the patrilineal, which deals with the lineage of his people, his descendants, sorry. So, of course, matriarchal could not be correct, because that has to deal with the woman, basically, and her authority. And it says, I am the man, remember that. Equilateral, as I said before, this person thinks of everybody is equal on the same level. Patriarchal, yes, that is the correct answer, because this is authority. This is a concept that deals with the authority of the male inside of the home. Okay, so C is correct. Patriarchal.
You're watching Homeschool 101.
Number 2, in some societies, individuals can choose their partners for marriage only from within the same group, sect, or tribe. This is referred to as neolocal, endogamy, equilateral, exogamy. But before we go further, neolocal is basically choosing a spouse from living away from your so the father and the mother, sorry, not the father and the mother, the male and the female living apart from their other family members. Okay? Endogamy is a custom of marriage outside of their tribe. So they choose persons outside of their tribe. Okay? Equilateral, again, is the person that says everybody is equal, and exogamy is choosing somebody, a spouse, outside of the tribe. So endogamy is choosing somebody within the community, tribe, or sect, and then you have the exogamy. They're choosing a spouse outside. So which one is correct, students? It says within the same group. So it's B, endogamy. Endogamy is a person that chooses a spouse within their tribe. The last question for today, before we move on to the homework, the legally accepted form of marriage in the Caribbean is bigamy, monogamy, endogamy, or polygyny. Sorry. Okay, very well. Monogamy, where we have a male and a female coming together to create a family and getting married. Now, students, I have some homework for you. I could not end today's lesson without giving you some homework for you to reinforce. So let's go to the homework. What I want you to do, once we finish, I want you to list 5 things teens can do during their teenage years to help them to be better parents in the future. Think about 5 things that you think you should do as a teenager now, so you can do in the future, so you can become a good parent. Okay, I want to encourage you to continue to practicing, the social distances, and continue to washing your hands and ensure that you do everything that is correct so you can remain healthy students and be able to sit and successfully complete your exam. It was a pleasure with you today. My name is Miss Walker and I have to leave now. Thank you and have a pleasant day.
You've been watching Homeschool 101, a partnership between ABS Television and the Ministry of Education. Thank you for viewing this lesson. Join us again next time.